Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learn English with Sam and Pam, the podcast where we help you improve your English in a slow, clear, and simple way. And today, we are going to talk about a very important topic in daily communication, which is talking about the past, the present, and the future. Because in real life, we always talk about what happened before, what is happening now, and what we will do later. And this helps us tell stories and share our experiences in a natural way. So, hello Pam, how are you today? And are you ready to talk about time in English?
Hello, everyone. Yes, I am ready. And I think this topic is very useful because it helps us organize our thoughts in English, and it also helps learners understand verb tenses in a simple way. And when we talk about the past, we talk about things that already happened. When we talk about the present, we talk about things happening now. And when we talk about the future, we talk about plans and predictions. And I think we can start with the past. So, Sam, can you tell us something you did in the past that you remember well?
Yes, I can. And I think talking about the past is like telling a story. And one thing I remember clearly is when I started learning English many years ago. Because at that time, I did not understand many words and I felt a little confused, but I kept practicing slowly every day, and I listened to simple conversations and tried to repeat them. And over time, I started to understand more and more. And I think this shows that learning takes time and patience. And Pam, what about you? Can you share something from your past?
Yes. In the past, I also had a simple experience with learning. And I remember when I first started teaching, I was a little nervous because I was not sure if I was doing everything correctly. But I learned step by step, and I improved by practicing every day. And I think the past is very important because it helps us understand how we became who we are today. And every experience, even small ones, can teach us something useful for the present.
That is very true. And now let's move to the present, because the present is what we are living right now. And in the present, I am speaking with you. I am recording this podcast, and I am trying to help learners understand English in a simple way. And I also try every day to improve my communication skills by speaking slowly and clearly. And I think the present is important because it is the moment where we can actually take action and improve ourselves.
Yes, and in the present, I'm also doing many simple things, like teaching English, preparing lessons, and speaking with learners. And I also try to read and listen to English every day to keep improving. And I think the present is like a bridge between the past and the future, because what we do now will affect what happens later. And this is why it is important to use our time wisely and focus on small daily improvements.
I like that idea, and I think many learners forget that small actions in the present can create big changes in the future. For example, if you practice English for 10 minutes every day, after some time you will notice a big improvement. And it's not about doing something perfect once, it's about doing something small many times. And now, let's talk about the future, because the future is full of plans, dreams, and possibilities. So, Pam, what do you think about the future?
In the future, I think I would like to continue improving my English teaching skills, and I also want to help more students feel confident when they speak English. And I think the future is something we can plan, but we cannot fully control. So it is important to have goals, but also stay flexible. And I also think about learning new skills and maybe traveling to new places, because the future is a chance to grow and explore new experiences.
Yes, I agree. And in the future, I also want to continue creating helpful content for learners, and I want to make English learning easier for people who feel afraid or confused at the beginning. And I think it's important to have a clear vision, but also enjoy the process step by step. And when we think about past, present, and future together, we can see how life is connected like a story that continues to grow.
That is a very good way to describe it. And I think learners can also practice this by making simple sentences about their own life. For example, they can say, in the past, I studied English, in the present, I am studying English, and in the future, I will study English. And this helps them understand tenses in a very simple and practical way without feeling stressed.
Yes, and they can also expand these sentences. For example, in the past, I studied English at school. In the present, I am studying English every day. And in the future, I want to speak English fluently. And this kind of practice helps learners build confidence and understand how time changes the meaning of sentences.
And another useful idea is to think in English about your daily life. For example, when something happens, you can say in your mind, this is happening now. Or when you remember something, you can say, this happened before. Or when you plan something, you can say, I will do this later. And this simple mental practice helps your brain get used to English naturally.
Yes, and I think repetition is very important here again, because when you repeat past, present, and future sentences many times, you start to feel more comfortable using them in real conversations, and you stop translating from your native language slowly, and instead, you start thinking directly in English in simple ways.
And we should also remind our listeners that it's okay to make mistakes with tenses, because even advanced learners sometimes make mistakes, and the important thing is communication, not perfection. So even if you mix past and present a little at the beginning, it's still a step forward in learning.
Exactly. And now, I want to give one more simple idea for practice, which is storytelling, because you can tell a small story using past, present, and future together. For example, you can say, yesterday I went to the park, today I am studying English, and tomorrow I will visit my friend. And this is a very natural way to practice all 3 times in one sentence.
Yes, and learners can make their own stories like this every day, even very short ones, because storytelling helps you connect ideas and use grammar in a natural way, and it also makes learning more interesting and less boring than just memorizing rules.
And I think we can continue exploring more examples and more real-life situations where we use past, present, and future, like travel stories, school experiences, work routines, and personal goals, because there are so many ways to practice this topic in everyday life, and we can keep building on it step by step as we go forward. And as we continue talking about the past, the present, and the future, I think it is helpful to explore more real-life situations where people naturally use these time expressions, because learners often study grammar rules, but they do not always know how to use them in daily conversations. And we want to make this topic practical and easy to understand for everyone listening today.
Yes, that is very true, because grammar becomes easier when you connect it to real life. And one common topic where people talk about the past, present, and future is school life, because many people talk about what they studied before, what they are studying now, and what they want to study later. And for example, someone can say, in the past, I studied math in high school. Now I am studying English online. And in the future, I want to study business at university. And this is a very natural way to practice all 3 time periods.
That is a great example. And I think work is another common topic, because adults often talk about their jobs using past, present, and future expressions. And someone might say, in the past, I worked in a restaurant. Now I work in an office. And in the future, I want to start my own business. And this helps learners explain their life journey in a simple way. And it also makes conversations more interesting because people enjoy hearing about personal experiences.
Yes, and travel is also a very popular topic because many people enjoy talking about places they visited before, places they are visiting now, and places they want to visit in the future. And someone could say, last year I traveled to Turkey, right now I am living in Malaysia, and next year I want to visit Japan. And this is a simple way to practice time expressions while talking about exciting experiences.
I like that example because travel stories are always interesting, and learners can also practice with family topics because family conversations often include memories from the past, activities in the present, and plans for the future. And someone can say, when I was a child, I lived with my grandparents. Now I live with my parents, and in the future I want to buy my own house. And this type of sentence feels very personal and meaningful.
Yes, and I think childhood memories are a wonderful way to practice the past tense because many people enjoy talking about their childhood experiences. And learners can say things like, "When I was young, I played outside every day," or "I loved watching cartoons when I was a child." And these simple memories help learners tell stories in English in a natural way.
That reminds me of my childhood because when I was younger, I spent a lot of time outside with friends and we played games in the neighborhood until the evening. And life felt very simple at that time. And now things are very different because people spend more time online. And in the future, I think technology will continue changing how children spend their time.
That is such an interesting comparison between the past and the present. And technology is another excellent topic for this lesson because people can talk about how technology changed their lives. And for example, someone can say, "In the past, I used books for information. Now I use the internet every day. And in the future, I think technology will become even more advanced." And this helps learners discuss modern life in a simple way.
Yes, and speaking of technology, communication has changed a lot too, because in the past people wrote letters, now people send messages instantly, and in the future communication might become even faster through new tools that we cannot imagine yet, and learners can practice these comparisons to make their conversations more detailed and interesting.
Another great topic is health and lifestyle, because many people talk about habits that changed over time. And someone might say, "In the past, I ate unhealthy food every day. Now I try to eat healthy meals. And in the future, I want to become even healthier." And this kind of conversation is very common among adults.
Yes, and exercise can also fit this topic, because someone can say, "Last year I never exercised. Now I go to the gym 3 times a week, and in the future I want to run a marathon." And even if the goal sounds big, it makes the conversation motivating and personal.
I agree, and hobbies are another great example because people's interests often change over time. And someone might say, "In the past, I loved playing video games. Now I enjoy reading books, and in the future, I want to learn photography." And this shows personal growth in a very simple way.
That is true, and relationships with friends can also be discussed using these time expressions, because someone can say, "In the past, I had many classmates at school. Now I work with new colleagues, and in the future, I hope to meet more interesting people." And this helps learners talk about social life naturally.
Yes, and let's talk about dreams for a moment, because future conversations often include dreams and goals, and many learners enjoy talking about what they want in life. And someone can say, "In the future, I want to travel the world, start a business, and help my family." And these goals can create meaningful conversations.
I really like talking about goals, because goals give people hope and motivation, and even simple goals matter, like learning English, saving money, or improving health. And learners can say, "Right now, I'm studying English, because in the future, I want a better job." And this sentence connects the present to the future very clearly.
Yes, and I think many people forget that small daily actions create future success, and that idea is very powerful because your future depends on what you do now, and your present is often connected to your past decisions.
That sounds very thoughtful, and I think we should also talk about mistakes from the past, because everyone makes mistakes, and these mistakes often teach valuable lessons. And someone can say, "In the past, I wasted a lot of time, but now I manage my time better, and in the future, I want to stay productive." And that feels very honest and realistic.
Yes, and learning from mistakes is an important life skill, and learners can practice emotional conversations like, "In the past, I felt shy speaking English. Now I feel more confident, and in the future, I want to speak fluently." And I think many listeners can relate to that sentence.
Definitely. And let's talk about seasons of life, because life changes in different stages, and students, workers, parents, and retired people all have different experiences in the past, present, and future. And discussing these stages can help learners describe life changes clearly.
Another useful idea is talking about daily schedules, because someone can say, "Yesterday I worked all day. Today I am relaxing at home, and tomorrow I will meet my friends." And this is very practical for daily conversation.
Yes, and learners can also practice with weekend plans, vacations, birthdays, and holidays, because these topics naturally include all 3 time periods.
For example, someone can say, "Last weekend I visited my cousin. Today I am resting at home, and next weekend I will go shopping." And that sounds very natural.
Exactly. And weather can also be included, like yesterday it rained, today it's sunny, and tomorrow it will be windy. And that's another easy way to practice time.
I also think news and world events can be useful for advanced beginners because they can say, "Last year, many things changed in the world. Today, people are adapting, and in the future, we hope life becomes better."
That is a very thoughtful example, and I think storytelling remains one of the best ways to practice all of this, because stories naturally move from past events to present situations and future plans.
Yes, and learners can even create simple stories about imaginary situations, like, "Yesterday I found a lost cat. Today I am taking care of it, and tomorrow I will help it find its owner." And that makes practice more fun.
That is actually a very cute story, and I think creative practice keeps learners interested because grammar can feel boring if it only exists in textbooks.
Exactly, and language should feel alive and connected to real experiences.
And as we continue this conversation, I think there are still many interesting areas we can explore, like money, personal growth, education abroad, family traditions, and cultural changes over time, because all of these topics can help learners become more confident talking about the past, the present, and the future in English. And there is still much more we can discuss.
Before we finish today's episode, I think it is important to remind our listeners that talking about the past, the present, and the future is something we do every single day without even noticing it, because we talk about memories, daily life, and future plans in normal conversations all the time. And learning how to express these ideas in English can help you feel much more confident when speaking with other people.
Yes, and remember that you do not need perfect grammar to communicate your ideas clearly, because communication is always more important than perfection. And even simple sentences like "Yesterday I worked," "Today I am resting," and "Tomorrow I will study" are excellent practice for beginners. And over time, you can make your sentences longer and more detailed.
And we also talked about many ways to practice this topic in real life, like talking about school, work, travel, family, health, hobbies, goals, and daily routines, because the best way to learn English is to connect it to your real life experiences and your personal story.
Exactly. And your life is full of stories from the past, activities in the present, and dreams for the future. So you already have many things to talk about in English. You just need to practice expressing them little by little every day.
Try this after the episode ends. Tell a short story about your life using all 3 time periods. You can say something simple like, "In the past, I lived in another city. Now I live here, and in the future, I want to travel more." And keep practicing with different topics.
And remember to listen again, repeat the sentences, and practice speaking out loud, because repetition helps your brain remember new structures more easily. And little by little, you will feel more comfortable speaking naturally.
Thank you so much for listening to Learn English with Sam and Pam today, and we hope this episode helped you understand how to talk about time in English in a simple and practical way.
Keep learning, keep practicing, and keep believing in your progress, because every small step matters. And we will see you in the next